Hi, welcome back to the Lamrim. We're on episode 13. I call it, it might set the sky afire. It might set the sky afire. And just to get us into the mood of this episode, I'd like to show a picture. This is actually the first detonation of a nuclear weapon in this world. This was near the end of World War II. And actually, this bomb was exploded not far from here. I have driven there before. It's a few hours drive from where I'm speaking in New Mexico, in the United States. And these scientists, including Fermi and earlier Einstein and Oppenheimer, who worked at Princeton, they believed it was theoretically possible to create a nuclear reaction, and it would create a large bomb. And they talked the President of the United States into this project to make this bomb. And when they had it ready, in theory, they took it to New Mexico, near here, and they set it off in the morning one day out in the desert. The project was called Trinity, which is sort of meaning like a powerful deity. And I read some amazing conversations with the scientists and the military people. And the military people said, is this safe? You know, if we explode this bomb, could something happen that we don't know about? And the scientists were like, no, we'll make enough explosion to destroy a city, for example. So don't worry about it. You know, we got it under control. And then this one scientist raised his hand, and somebody should make a movie about it. He raised his hand and he said, "There's a small chance of a problem." And the military guys are like, "What?" And he said, well, we don't quite know, but there is some chance that it will ignite the whole atmosphere of Earth, and it will destroy everything on Earth and all the people on Earth. There's a chance that the reaction will go through the oxygen of the entire Earth. You know? And they're like, okay, just a chance, right? He said, yeah, just a chance, you know. Let's go ahead with it, you know. So I was like, whenever I read that, I was like, wow, you know, here's this, they're trying to do a little bomb, and it could go wrong, you see. It could destroy everything, okay? And that's the theme of this episode 13, all right? Let's read the Tibetan together. Shenya nga shepe chamse kyu chanakye chungwadang. So now they're talking about disastrous results of diamond way practice if we don't have this attitude of trying to help, having made a commitment to help everyone, okay? Then this is a story, this says, it's like the story of the Brahmin youth called Chanakya, which we talked about earlier. So I went back and got it for you. And the text earlier in the Lamrim, day 13, it says, Tramse kyu chanakya shepa, shinje she trupe, mi mabungunchuk tu sepe, nyawa narme du kepa sung. He got magical powers by practicing Tantra, and then he misused them. And he actually killed a number of people with the powers that he gained through the practice of the secret teachings. So here it says, then he went to the lowest of the hell realms. So we're talking about, you know, before we had the example of someone who didn't use the power of Tantra correctly, and all that happened was they saw emptiness directly. And now we're talking about other people who didn't have this bodhicitta motivation. And when they practiced Tantra, it got worse. It was like the whole sky blew up, you know. It's like they ended up in the hell realms because they were doing these powerful practices without this motivation to help all living beings. Okay? All right, there are 3 stories. Kyagana shinje she, drupe neonjo pashik, dugter kete pud onwar, jowu torma chine, parte padang. Then there's a story of a yogi, a tantrika in India, who was practicing yamari. In Tibetan it's called shinje she. It's similar to yamantaka. And he was reborn as a spirit, as a negative spirit, a bad spirit. And these spirits tend to wander into other places. So he actually wandered up towards Tibet, and he reached Tibet. And Atisha became aware of this spirit and kind of like made a deal with him where he offered him a torma and then chased him off. Okay, so partepa, torma chinne, partepa means Lord Atisha gave him a torma offering, and then he chased him off. He said, now you should go. Okay, so this is again a disaster result from practicing the higher teachings without this commitment to these beings. Third story here. Pembe jikche ki nyangjo ba shik yida yidam ki sukchen shik tikene nga ki nyene la surku pe logyu taryin. This again is a story that was told before. Pembo is an area of Tibet. I think it's north of Lhasa. Okay, I'm not sure. I've known some monks from there. Jikche ki nyangjo ba shik. There was a tantrika practicing yamantaka. And he was born Yidam ki Sukchen Shik. This is a weird word, okay? I should offer Seiji $100. You ready? Or Tim. Yidak, Yidam ki Sukchen. Yidak, Yidam ki Sukchen. Okay? Yidak, you know. A preta, right? What's a Yidam? Yeah. Yeah, tantric deity. Sukchen. Suk. Okay. He was born. Okay, cancel the bet. He was born into the form of what? No. Yidat. He was born as a preta, but he looked like Yamari, a very weird karma. Okay, he practiced tantra without a high motivation. He was constantly thinking about this fierce deity, and he died, and he was reborn as a preta. But the preta looked like the fierce deity. That's all he got. That was his result of his tantric practice. Okay, Sukchen Dashik. Then some of his friends who had done the Yamari retreat with him were offering a torma to the local spirits, and he showed up. Yeah, and they were like, hey, are you Yamari? He says, I'm your old friend, you know. And I tried to practice Tantra without this motivation. So all I got was, I look like him, but I live like a preta. I'm suffering terribly, okay? It'd be weird to meet your retreat friends later, you know, and they look at you and they think, oh, Yamari's here. And you say, no, I'm not Yamari, I'm just a plain old preta, you know. Please give me some torma, you know. Please lead me tormas more frequently, okay. You don't want to go to Diamond Mountain on a retreat, practice medicine, get the medicine Buddha initiation online, okay, and do the retreat online at home. And then you die and you become a ghost that looks like medicine Buddha. It'd be weird, right? And then your friends are offering tormas and you show up. It's a weird story, okay? We don't want to do that. Okay, tadang pelcher ki yidam ki shel sik dang mun she zurtu sok la tsik che wa che. Then nowadays, if pelcher means most people, if they see a tantric deity in person, yidam ki shel sik means if they see the face of the tantric deity that they're praying to, or they gain some kind of ability to read other people's minds, or they can fly in the sky, or they know people who say, I met Tara in person, or I can read what you're thinking, or I can fly in the sky. And then people are like, wow, your practice is awesome, You must have a really good Buddhist practice if you can see deities and you can read people's minds and you can fly in the sky. And then Pabongka Rinpoche says, yeah, that's cool, but if you don't have bodhicitta, you could go to hell because of those three, They could take you to hell. Seeing deities, flying in the sky, reading other people's minds. If you do it for the wrong reason, it could take you to the hell realms, okay? If you don't have bodhicitta, okay? So it doesn't really help you and me if we can read other people's minds, or we can do little magic tricks, okay? Pen mitok means it doesn't help us that much. Semdi yuna ni shenchilang matsunkyang. But if you get this experience where you meet other beings directly and make a commitment to them for their happiness, then you really reached the essence of Dharma. You have the essence of Dharma inside of you. Forget meeting tantric deities, forget having the ability to read other people's minds. If you just have this kind of love from a personal bond with each being and a commitment to them, to help them, to take care of them as if you were their parent, then that's really the core of the Dharma, okay? Donga kangi kap kyang take chen to gyuming your semdi you make it jason draw. Whether or not we can call you on someone who's practicing the Bodhisattva way only depends on this experience, okay? It's the crux of the whole question, is have you met beings, have you made this commitment to them, or at least are you aspiring to that? Then we can say you're on the Bodhisattva track or not, okay? These, by the way, you can have it can be that you haven't had that experience directly, but you're strongly attracted to it, that's fine. These sinna dundola senchang chik chimba tsundang. So the next picture here is a cute picture. Where's that? Of a bird. And this is a lady and she's feeding a bird. And this is a practice that I used to do with my former partner, Christy. And it was a very sweet practice. And we used to go to McDonald's. The only thing we could eat at McDonald's was French fries. And we had read this part of the Lam Rim. And we would take little pieces of French fries. So you know the story of the tigress, when Lord Buddha in his former life was a prince called, I think his name was Nyingtop Chimbo, Big Courage, Mr. Courage. And he went into the jungle and he found a tigress who was dying of hunger and had 4 babies who were trying to nurse from her but couldn't. She couldn't produce milk. And, to make a long story short, he offers her his body. He offers the 5 his body if they make, with a commitment that they should be his first 5 students. And they were. Kaudinya and 4 others. So there's this act of truth you can do by feeding another being, okay? And so we used to go to McDonald's, order the French fries, break them up into little pieces, and then we would feed the sparrows who come to the McDonald's, and we would make a prayer, if you eat my French fry, then you're going to be reborn as my student when I become a Buddha. So then it becomes very cool to go to McDonald's. Otherwise, it's kind of weird to go to McDonald's, right? So actually he mentions it here. Tundola sencha chik jimba tsundang. if you have this kind of motivation and you go to a McDonald's and you feed pieces of French fries to the little birds there, even activities which are karmically flat, okay, they have no great karmic power, okay, giving French fry to a bird or going to the toilet in the McDonald's, okay, karmically neutral activities. It's called here lungmaten, karmically neutral activities. Giving the French fries to the birds is a little bit good karma. Let's say you go in and you want to use the toilet, so you buy some French fries. Sometimes I do that. Even the going to the toilet, which by definition is almost karmically neutral, not good, not bad. I guess it depends on how bad a bomb you make. But it's karmically neutral. It becomes a great virtue, okay? He says, Tsun here means, Jimba Tsun means on down to giving French fries to a bird, on down to giving French fries to a bird, or even going to the toilet at McDonald's is something neutral, becomes a high bodhisattva act. That's awesome. That's awesome. If we can have this background motivation all the time, that I would like to, as a parent, save every living being. If you think like that, then all the little stuff you do, brushing your teeth, cleaning your house, it all becomes high karma. So everything you do becomes some kind of supercharged karma. You don't have any neutral actions anymore. Everything you do is supercharged. That's very cool, okay? All right. Dzogchang tope gyur. And all of those actions, cleaning your house, brushing your teeth, going to the bathroom at McDonald's, feeding the birds, they all become direct causes for Buddhahood, okay? Very cool. Now, Changsem Dagni Chembu ni mi gewaang di sine gewar gyur nupayin. Now, this is a very controversial statement. I don't want you to hear it. And then everybody's like, oh, tell me. Changsem Dagni Chembo. Dagni Chembo, $50, Sanskrit. Dagni Chembo. Huh? Cancel Mahatma. Okay, Mahatma. This is the Tibetan for Mahatma. And it means a great being. It means a great being, okay? Like Mahatma Gandhi. Changsem means those Bodhisattva Mahatmas, okay? I don't know, let's think of something. Yeah, okay. You go to McDonald's, you want to give French fries to the birds as a bodhisattva activity, and then you find out you don't have any money or a credit card. And you go outside, and there's a guy sitting next to you eating French fries, okay? And he looks away, and you swipe a French fry, and you give it to the birds, okay? Under special circumstances, if your motivation is high enough, that stealing a French fry becomes a good karma, okay? Because of the motivation, okay? And that's an extremely dangerous idea, okay? And I was trying to think of some picture that I could show you that would demonstrate how dangerous this idea is. So I got this picture of a fugu fish in Japan, okay? And a fugu fish is also called a blowfish. And there are parts of inside this fish that are highly, highly poisonous. They are more poisonous than cyanide, okay? And So I don't know, there's this, Japanese cool people. And I spend time working in Japan. There's this thing of courage thing, bravery thing. They say, they go to the restaurant and say, give me a fugu fish. And the guy's like, but, if you eat the wrong piece, you will die here, now, with the fish in your mouth. You will die that fast, And I looked it up. 50 people die in Japan every year from fugu fish. They're like, I'm going to try, And it's supposed to be, it's super delicious because it's so dangerous. So, and to cook it legally, you have to have 3 years of training. You have to have a license and you have to have 3 years of training to legally serve it in a restaurant, to cook it. Most of the people who die buy one and take it home and try to do it themselves. But so you know what I'm talking about, right? You got what I'm talking about, right? To steal the French fry and give it to the birds takes a very skilled, highly trained bodhisattva cook. And if you and me try it, we will just end up on the floor dead with fugu fish in our mouth, okay? So, and there's a joke that no matter how many times you tell a student something's dangerous, someone's going to try it anyway. So please don't, okay? He's just trying to make a point that things that are normally not nice, these high Dagnin Chenpo means not just a normal bodhisattva, but a very high bodhisattva. It's possible they could steal a French fry and, turn it over into an incredible good deed, but it's extremely rare. Like eating fugu fish, okay? So don't be a fugu fool. All right. Di menani toni to beshiram kendan tena tepa sumge chanjugi gyur doe matabu yinna. Changsemni lame chanjukoni gyurwe padan dawa yino dena ngama la yum yang ser. Di sene gewa gyun nupayin. Di menani toni to beshira kenatina. Okay. In general, seeing emptiness directly, okay? Toni to beshira here. If you can see emptiness directly, tepa sumge changchuki gyurdo, okay? So this changchub here does not mean Changchu Semba. It does not mean Bodhisattva. It means Buddhahood, but it doesn't mean Buddhahood. It means enlightenment of the three kinds, okay, of the three vehicles, of the three tracks. And there are two lower tracks. If you get to the end of them because you saw emptiness directly without bodhicitta, then those do create nirvana, but it's called lower nirvana, and we already talked about how we don't want to go there, okay? But seeing emptiness directly has that power even for a person who doesn't have a high motivation. So even for a person who does not have a high motivation, seeing emptiness directly can give birth inside of them to nirvana. And therefore, it's called ma. It's called the mother, yum, like yab yum, okay? It's called the mother. So here it's ma tabu yin. And I'd like to go to the next picture, which I negotiated with great difficulty from a family in Sedona, okay? And here you see Aaron Shad, Mrs. Nick Lashaw. You see Nick Lashaw, and you see their baby Amelie, okay? So just imagine Amelie being a Buddha, which is not difficult looking at her face. And the mother of the Buddhas, the Aaron of all Buddhas, is the direct perception of emptiness, okay? So we can say that seeing emptiness directly is the mother of the Buddha, like Aaron for Amelie, okay? Changsem ni lame chanju kone gyurgyurwe padang dawa. But bodhicitta only has one result. You can't go on the 3 tracks after having that experience. Once you've had that experience, the 2 lower tracks are canceled. You are restricted to the highest track, and the highest track, the bodhisattva track, always ends in total Buddhahood, complete Buddhahood, okay? La me means highest, totally highest, okay? Incomparable, nothing higher. What? Okay, so kone gyurgyurpe. So really, it's like a father, okay? So if we go back to the photo, so Nick represents the bodhicitta, okay? Nick represents bodhicitta. And the mom, there's something here. I mean, you guys got to think about it in your study groups maybe. There's some kind of statement here. I don't know exactly what it is. The emptiness realization could go 3 ways. You could become a complete Buddha, or you could just reach nirvana. So therefore, it's like a mother. But the bodhicitta can only go to full enlightenment. Therefore, it's like a father. So maybe it's some statement about what a mother is and what a father is. I don't know. You guys can debate it in your discussion groups. Okay. He's making some kind of statement like that. Gyewe padandao yino dena ngamala yum yang ser. And by the way, he makes a aside. This is an aside. He's making a side statement. He says that, by the way, that's why we call the perfection of wisdom yum, as in yub yum. Okay, yum means Holy Mother or something like that. That's why we call the perfection of wisdom Holy Mother. I looked up what yum is in Sanskrit, and it took me a while. Oftentimes it's simply prajnaparamita, the perfection of wisdom, but sometimes it's called mata, which means mother. Okay. Then Indian people call their moms mataji. So yum in Tibetan, referring to the direct perception of emptiness and the literature that helps you get there. The Mother Sutras, or the Great Mother, okay? All right. And together they're called Mata Pitta, or Mata Pitta, or Amba, sometimes Amba for the mom, or sometimes Pitta and Mater, okay? Which means father and mother, okay? All right, last part here. Torna Sangye ki kopan shik dunda minyana matok. This is an interesting statement. Tam cheki chanjuki samla tuktam ki tilduja. Okay, there's a word here in the second line called tuktam ki til. Tuktam ki til at the end of the second line here. Yeah, and til means the palm of your hand. This is lak til. This is kang til. Okay, the palm of your foot, the sole of your foot. Okay, and lak til means So I got a piece of gum here. Okay, and if you hold out your hand and you put it in the middle of your hand, okay, that's called lak til, and it means what's your one most important Buddhist practice. It's called what's in the palm of your hand. It's kind of funny. By the way, the name of the book is not Liberation in the Palm of Your Hand. The name of the book is A Gift of Liberation Shoved into Your Open Hands. Thank you. I wasn't expecting that. But this palm, it means, look, what's the one practice you should always have at hand, in your hands? What's your one? Tuktam ki til means, what is your private number one practice? Okay? What is your number one Dharma theme for your whole life? Which have you selected? Is it Vajrayogini practice, or I don't know, is it death meditation? Or is it seeing emptiness directly? What's the one thing you want to be buried with? What's the one thing you want in your hand? Okay? Sangye gopa shi dunaminyana Now, first he excludes a certain group of people, okay? First he excludes a certain group of people. He says, look, I'm not talking about people who don't want to become a Buddha, okay? So forget those people. It's really funny. I don't know why he said that, He says, look, what I'm about to say, it's just meant for you guys who want to become a Buddha, So if you don't want to become a Buddha, then don't listen to this next part, okay? He says that. He says, if you're not interested in becoming a Buddha, then you don't have to listen to this part, okay? But if you are interested in being a Buddha, then there's only one, practice you should devote your whole life to. The one practice you keep in the palm of your hand, and that's you gotta have this experience where you meet, every single being one by one, and commit to help them overcome all pain. You make that personal connection and commitment to every single living being. Bugs, fish, birds, Martians, people living on the other side of the universe, all of them, in a single meditation, okay? So let's make that the one thing you're going to work on for the rest of your life. Let this be your heart practice, okay? All right, Tilde John. Take some gyunin sok lek bachia tamje pardena. This pardena, okay? Very, very unusual word. You won't see it very often. De means to chase an animal while you're hunting it. Okay? It's a weird word, Like you're hunting a rabbit and you keep running after the rabbit, And that's called de. And pad de is an idiom in Tibetan. And it means boils down to, if you chase, it all comes down to this. What? He says, look, all of Buddhism, the whole Buddhist practice, 300,000 John Brady books, all Buddhist practice, ultimately, pardena, if it boils down to trying to get this experience, trying to have this experience with every living being. All Buddhist practice, thousands and thousands of books, thousands of hours of meditation. It all boils down to, can you trigger this experience? Can you have this experience yourself? Okay, very cool. All right, see you in the next episode. Thank you.